and slow. A shadow falls where I can't go. The wind, it whispers, calling low. Oh, carry me to where the sky meets the sea. Oh, carry me, oh, set me free. A lone bird cries, its wings so frail. The heather bends beneath the gale. I chase a dream, a fleeting trail. The stones remember the earth it knows, where silent rivers gently flow. I stand alone as sorrow grows. Oh, carry me to where the sky meets the sea. Oh, carry me, oh, set me free. The wind fades quiet, the echoes stay. The haunting tune, it drifts away, forever lost, yet here I lay.
Okay, I think you guys can hear me. Okay, let's go. See if I can fade over to me. Where am I? Everything working? Oh yeah. Whoops. Hold on. I don't want to. We're not playing all of them, don't you know? We don't get to just mess around with the thing, you know. Hello. I got my hair back. It's time to put it down. It's show time. Hello everyone. Welcome to the show. Like, subscribe, etc. I'm gonna come up with a better way to throw stuff around. I gotta do it. I gotta come up with a more elegant way of making that happen. But until such time as I do that, share the show and help us out in any way you can. Do all the free stuff first. Don't worry about any of the other stuff yet. But do all the free stuff first. I do exist. Hi. Someone cutting onions, yeah. Hal called it. Trump released a summary of his MRI and held him up as a model of vitality. Of course. I told you guys, chat room. I said it. I told you that they would release the results of the MRI, not the details of the MRI, because the results can be fudged and faked and whatever, and there's no... It will be a standard political lie. But if you fake the details and that's a lie, that's different. That's an uninformed public. That is taxation without representation, as it were. Those are the kind of lies you can get in actual trouble for. But the kind where you're like, yeah, it was great. Well, define, yeah, it was great. Well, he's not dying, and that's great compared to dying, which would be not great. So, great. Yeah, it's great. She might be my mate. Great. That's why. Hello. And reminds you of Silent Running. Thanks very much. I like that. That's not a bad thing at all. The tip jar has survived. It's just sitting over there on its little thing. One of these days I'll get a green screen big enough to survive my motions. I just have to lean back this way, and nope, still going to run out. If I do this and lean across, nope. I have to go further back. It's never going to work. It's so stupid. My screen is that big. Okay, so hi there. Oh, nice. Level 1 hype train. Thank you, Twitch people. Bless you. Hello, Massachusetts. What's going on, Don? And you have a shit connection. It might be me. I don't know. It was being jagged for a split second, so hopefully we'll be all right. Too much to cover today, by the way, chat room. Just too much. It's too much to cover. Not only am I behind on a bunch of stuff because I've been indisposed, but also there's an entire an avalanche of horse shittery going on. Let's see. Does this see if everything still works? There we go. Let's see. I got to move my pages around. There you go. For example, Glenn Beck has been doing everything he can to turd polish the administration's handling of Epstein. But there's, as much as he's been trying to distract, you've got, on the other hand, Tucker Carlson and who's this jackass? Like, this guy has I always think he looks like either a Russian hitman or a UFC fighter who's retired and been put out to podcast. Sean Ryan, that's who it is. Yeah. Discuss the reason the Epstein files have been buried and who's really in charge of the government. Okay. So let me get this straight. You motherfuckers said Trump is the last great hope. And if he doesn't get elected, just write off the country. He's the only salvation that's there. The only savior is Donald Trump. He must be elected or the country will be destroyed. And then less than 9 months after his swearing in, about 10 months after swearing in, we're doing videos about, we shouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's not like he runs the fucking government or anything. I mean, it's Jesus Christ, it's not like he's actually president, okay? And if you ask, I guarantee if, let's see. I'm not gonna prejudge. I would guess that at some point, one or both of these dickheads talk about how they've kind of known this for a long time, that the president doesn't really run shit, and it's not, we don't really have a government, that kind of nonsense, right?
Everybody is screaming, release these fucking files. We want to know what is going on. We want to.
Well, not everybody. I think, was it Clay Higgins is the one vote against them, and everybody is like, Trump himself isn't screaming for their release. He's like, all right, release them. Whatever.
No.
What will we find out if they were all released?
I don't know. Why are you doing these full profile shots like you guys are a kissing face?
Anything we didn't know?
I honestly have no idea. Is it the end of the fucking country? Like, is it really that bad?
C.S. Lewis has this. Well, I have tons of opinions on the subject. I don't have
the ability to articulate any of them and not sound like a complete fucking dipshit.
Concrete proof. Of course, I think I know, but C.S. Lewis has this. I think it was C.S. Lewis.
Does it really matter? It's probably some other, neo-Christic author that you want to pretend like you actually give a shit about while you sell your fake Christianity to your new audience, because when you don't have any facts on your side, sell a religion that you just purchased your way into, along with your fucking weirdo log cabin lifestyle that for some reason is, I guess you just get away with it. Just pretending.
I like wood.
Yeah.
Deeper and longer.
Sure. Thank God I'm a country boy.
Has this essay in which he says.
Okay, so you didn't read the book. You just read the essays. That tracks.
People debate, was Jesus really God or whatever. If Jesus came back to Earth tomorrow and held a press conference, like a week later, people would be talking about something else.
Even if he live on camera, turned some water to wine and some, loaves and fishes, did all that shit. Maybe even had walked up to a leper and all their like, because it still exists, flying a leper from someplace in, I don't know, South America, I suppose, where they have some, little areas where it pops up. How about just from Arizona? I think they had a small outbreak there. Find a leper from Arizona, fly him in for the press conference. He can heal him. I guarantee it would still be a talking point a couple weeks later. As a matter of fact, I think that the next talking point was when does Bravo sign him to his reality series?
It's like, we actually know what's true. We know what's true in the way that dogs know what's true. You can't.
That's exactly how Tucker Carlson knows something's true. He sniffs its ass and I suppose licks his own balls in front of company. This is high science, man. It's the art form.
Reason with the dog can smell it. And
truth is dog shit. Tucker Carlson, 2025.
he sticks with his opinion because he has no other input.
Yeah, he doesn't get to smell everybody's shit, I guess.
If you hate a dog, you can't talk your way out of it. The dog knows you hate the dog.
What? No, it doesn't. If you have a treat in your hand and you hate the dog, guess what? It's your best friend. Fuck, what an idiot.
Dogs have unerring instincts. And so
No, they don't. They absolutely do not have unerring instincts, or my dad's dog would not run into the woods chasing a bird that isn't there and come out covered in ticks. You're an idiot. It's a lovely dog. I love this dog. Unerring instincts. Why then does he bark at people we know and not at strangers sometimes? What the fuck?
do we. And so
So do we. Who's we? Humans? What the fuck?
of course, we know exactly what the Epstein story is about. It's about the deep corruption of global leadership. Of course.
Of course, it's about Donald Trump's best friend who was fucking kids for a long time, and people like you who are slow walking a response to it because you know the people that were in it, and it's not some cabal, it's not the fucking Rothschilds that are in it. It's just a half a dozen or so dudes that Donald Trump likes.
Course. And you can say it's about Israel, it's about the CIA. Well, is there a distinction really?
Yes, there's a distinction between Israel and the CIA.
Not just between Israel and Mossad and CIA, but about the British government or really kind of any government or any.
Yes, there's no difference between any governments. This is America first, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the king of MAGA. Yes, the dweeb Alex Jones. There's no difference between any countries. That's why Tucker Carlson is moving to Yemen, and he's going to broadcast from there from now on. Jesus Christ.
Bill Gates or Leon Black. It's all kind of varieties of the same thing.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Because Mark Cuban's not in there. Fucking Mitt Romney was the head of the Republican Party and ran for president. He's not in there. Barack Obama's not in there. Joe Biden wasn't fucking in there, but the current sitting president, who's the head of the Republican Party, he was in there. Your fucking New York buddy from when you were on Fox News.
It's corrupt leadership that is acting on its own behalf against the interests of the people they lead. It's the oldest story there is.
No, it isn't. No, corrupt leadership acting against the people that they serve or whatever is not the oldest story. You know why? Because democracy didn't happen but like 250 fucking years ago. Before that, corrupt leadership was fuck you, I'm the king. Fuck you, I'm the Pope. Fuck you, I'm the religious leader of this particular tribe. Those are free of corruption because nobody has a say. Corruption only exists when there's an alternative to where you wouldn't be corrupt, or where there's a punishment for, or it's considered illegal to act in certain behaviors. And in dictatorships and stuff, there's no corruption. It's just fuck you for asking.
Pharisees.
The Pharisees. Shut the fuck up.
And if we're honest, we already know that. So.
Okay, real quick. You can't flood the airwaves with your I like wooden building, semi-macho country life bullshit and then still wear loafers with no socks. I'm sorry. No. No, those are the shoes of a man who knows when he leaves the house to when he returns to the house, nothing bad is going to happen to him. Other people will take it. You might as well be wearing fucking flip-flops. I wear flip-flops when I go out and cut wood. Well, I don't cut wood. I stand there and watch while a guy I pay to cut wood stands there that my wife wonders why he has to be so sweaty and muscular. I think it's just he's the most qualified guy. And she asks again, and I say,
I like wood.
and that's the end of the conversation because man dominates the household.
I mean, of course, I'm completely for disclosure of everything, but I don't lie to myself and say that disclosure would change human nature because it won't. And
What are you talking? Look, I understand murder is a crime and that kind of stuff, and I obviously people should be punished for murder, but if you throw someone in jail for murder, it's not going to destroy the very concept of murder, so why bother throwing a murderer in jail? I'm sorry, and we're the ones trying to defund the fucking police. The fuck is this? Tucker Carlson, you are a lazy, ballless, soulless dipshit. You flail around in bumper sticker religiosity and nonsensical patriarchal horseshit that you do not even have the physical strength to manifest in the human body. This is the most absurd human in maggotdom right now. And I'll say it to your fucking face anytime you want. Please share this clip with Tucker Carlson wherever he shows up online. You nutless wonder. You weak, backbending dipshit. The moral ambiguity of this Nepo baby bullshit artist, especially around Christianity, should offend every Christian that has even a smidgen of genuine belief in their religion. And Sean Ryan, I don't blame you for platforming him because, clickbait, whatever.
people have an opportunity to exploit others, generally will.
Well, obviously projection is 9/10 of the law.
And the rest of us need to fight daily against that, not because we're going to win in
Because it's human nature to be evil.
the short term, but because it is our duty.
Okay, then why not be for full disclosure? If it's your duty to fight every day, then why shrug off the idea of full disclosure? His arguments so far, and chat room, check me on this. It seems to me that Tucker Carlson's argument is why out and prosecute and incarcerate pedophiles because you won't eliminate pedophilia by doing it. Especially since it's his rich friends. Especially since it's his buddies. Especially it's the general, wealth circuit that he has operated in his entire goddamn life. He would never say this about a poor person committing a crime. Lock him up. Deport him. Kick him out, right? But when it comes to wealthy Republican donors and people in the power elite, and especially in the Northeast of the United States and in Florida, that crowd, hands off. What a ugh. Do you think he ever came clean about the truck stop bathroom where he got all those scratch marks on his body when he told his wife he was fighting a demon?
And to serve what's good and true, period, even if we're killed doing it. So I don't...
Yes, nothing says, I am willing to die for what I know is good and true, like loafers without socks. Fuck you. Just ready for battle at any turn. Jesus Christ.
No, I won't stop pushing for disclosure. I really believe that. Trust is built on honesty. It's not built on lies. Ever.
You say, does it change? I can't remember your exact verbiage, but
It doesn't matter. spitball it, dude.
You know, we were talking about, you know, when this gets exposed, does it change anything? No, this is the nature of man. This is what happens.
No. No, it isn't. If it was the nature of man, then there wouldn't be laws against it in the first fucking place. If it was the nature of man to be power-hungry pedophiles, then we would just allow it. We would put it right up there with breath and the desire to consume bacon and cheese.
But
We already know the answer.
men need to be reset. And men have not been fucking reset, not in this country, for a long,
Well, that's
long
coming.
time.
That's coming whether we want it or not. We don't
Tell them. This is gonna happen. Men are getting ready to have a wake-up call. And you ladies better watch out.
want it, but it's coming.
And
All this shit about women don't need men.
Dude, you're not a man. You might be an adult male, but you're not a fucking man. Jesus.
You've obviously seen chaos in a society, right? Like actual chaos. People just like shoot into buildings and no one arrests them. You spent your life around that stuff.
Oh, I mean, like the guy who fired his gun at January 6th into the sky, and the other guy who had a truckload of guns he was going to go back for, but he got like curb stomped by his own assholes going up the steps, so he never got a chance to go back, and when he did, he got arrested. But you guys forgot about it by then?
Those societies don't ask questions like, what are men for? You know what I mean?
How do you even say that and then have that laugh?
Right. And we're, of course, moving closer to that. And all of this, all of our silliest manifestations, you know, the trans craziness or
You are a silly manifestation. Your name is Tucker. You are rich because your parents created frozen dinners. You got a job at Fox because they were like, well, he's a rich asshole.
feminism or other just revolts against nature are only possible because we live.
You are a revolt against nature. Jesus Christ, man. I see no better example of a man who would be turned into chili in a plane wreck before anyone else. Okay, who here is completely fucking useless? All right, get out the steak knives.
In this nerf world of affluence, but as that starts to change, and it is changing, then the upside of that, we're going to get poorer and the society will become more dangerous, but we'll also be a little more rooted in reality. In the same way that rich people are insufferable, not all, but a lot.
Well, obviously not yourself. Yeah.
A lot of rich people are insufferable because they're detached from reality.
Right, you just described yourself.
From nature, from God, from like the things that are real, and they convince themselves because they can fly from point to point without going through TSA that they have infinite power, and they
He's simply describing himself.
don't, and that's why they're so hard to have dinner with. But
They're the only people you have dinner with. And the only reason you find them insufferable is because they're saying the exact same thing that you're saying. They're espousing the exact same ideas you're espousing. They're saying it with the same stupid fucking laugh that you have, but it's not coming out of your mouth. That's the only reason you hate it. For real. The only reason he hates what these people are saying isn't because of the content, because it's identical to how he thinks. It's because it interrupts the time when he's fucking talking.
a normal society doesn't have these problems. It has all kinds of other problems, but doesn't have the American problems of like, I'm a 40-year-old unmarried Citibank executive. I'll just get a surrogate. It's like, okay. Or the suicide rate. There's not a lot of suicide in, impoverished countries.
Jesus Christ. Because life beats you to it, you dumb motherfucker. That's why they don't commit suicide. Death doesn't need any help. What the fuck?
Because, the mission is really clear. Eat You know, there's not a lot of crisis of meaning
Yeah.
in Burundi. You know what I mean?
Jesus Christ. I swear to God, it's like he was born out of the mannequin orgy on the upper class Twit of the Year Monty Python sketch. And by the way, crisis of meaning is the point where society should get to when you start to contemplate the high order thoughts. You don't get points for not thinking those thoughts when you're simply living meal to meal. And he's certainly, this asshole, what he's doing is obviously from, again, most of this claptrap is written from the warm side of a bay window. The idea that this guy is effectively wishing this on the average American. You guys have too much comfort and you're talking about these high concept things. You need to start starving for a while. You need to live life down the barrel of a gun for a while because then you'll forget about all this shit.
It's a fight for the day.
Yeah, it's a fight for the day. Well, it's a trade-off. I mean, I would much rather live in a DoorDash society because I like comfort and ease and everything, but it is a trade-off. And you...
No, that's not a trade-off. That's the direction life should go. There's nobody is saying, well, I could get DoorDash or I could wander through Sudan right now. What the fuck?
Trade comfort for meaning. That's just kind of what we've done.
No, we have not. No, we have not. You can't even have meaning if you can't contemplate that fucking meaning. Meaning is like scramble for survival and meaning are not synonymous. Who the fuck?
And we shouldn't be, again, we shouldn't be surprised by it.
What do you think happens?
Presumes facts not in evidence that he actually thinks and doesn't just ping pong regurgitate claptrap he's heard from other people.
Honestly, if this, do you think this is actually is this gonna come out?
Yep.
Or has it all been shredded? I mean, Mark
I
Epstein
don't.
said this is...
of course. I mean, we don't have the JFK files.
Mm-hmm.
And
we don't? I thought the whole big thing was that Trump released all of it. It's all out now.
So then you ask, like, why don't we?
Who's we?
Is being protected here?
Hold on one second. Let's see. All the released JFK files. NationalArchives.gov. Oh, I gotta shrink this down. 1 second. There we go. In accordance with the President Donald Trump directive of March 17, 2025, all records previously withheld for classification that are part of the President John F. Kennedy assassination records collection are released. Here they are, sections 10 and 11. Accessing the records, there's all the stuff that's left over that hasn't been released before. Status of records related to the transfer from FBI to NARA in 2025. There's the 2023 release. There's the 2022 release. There's the 2021 release. There's the 2017-2018 release. Here's frequently asked questions and all this kind of shit. Yeah, we do.
There are no living stakeholders in that story. There's no living participant in that murder conspiracy.
That you know of.
It was a conspiracy. We know that. So
no, we don't.
who were the participants in that conspiracy?
Well, if you know it's a conspiracy, then you have to know who's the participant in it.
No one's still alive, so who could we possibly be protecting by not releasing all of those files? And that's a pretty short list of suspects. So I think we kind of know what that is.
Do we? I mean, like, small list of suspects, what? Anybody who was alive and aware of it during, the last 45, 50 years that's still in U.S. government. Ted Cruz's dad, of course. Yes, good point. Russia, the mob. I don't know. Who else?
At least in part. I don't know the details. I know some, but I think it's pretty obvious. Same with Epstein. It's pretty clear who some of the players were. They were
Yeah. And the biggest one was his running buddy, Donald John Trump. 25 years. Besties.
governments, the U.S. government involved, British government involved.
No. U.S. government. No. No. Not the U.S. government involved. Specific people within the U.S. government, specifically Donald John Trump. You don't get to go, well, the CIA was involved because they tracked him for a while and then passed it off to law enforcement, and that was a local and state thing, and then it bounced back, whatever. No, the U.S. government was not involved. The fucking the staff of the FAA weren't involved in it. The DOD and all the soldiers working in the military for the U.S. government were not involved in it. Very specific people.
Involved, Israeli government involved at various levels. The guy lived a fairly long life. He died in his mid-60s.
He did. Oh, you're sure he's dead? All right, that's interesting.
He was pretty active in government.
In Donald Trump's life?
Work arms trading, for example, from a young age, from his late 20s, I think. When
You mean when Bill Barr's dad got him a job at an all-girls an all-girls school that he wasn't qualified to teach at before he went to work for Bear Stearns, where he met gun runners, and when there was a big scandal at Bear Stearns, he got off scot-free largely because he was protected by some people in that organization, and then he went off and just helped trade arms for a little while and became a compromat machine, where at the same time he met Donald Trump and befriended him for decades.
he left Bear Stearns, he got into that business with Robert Maxwell. You don't trade arms by yourself. You do it on behalf of governments and with the assistance of governments.
No, you don't. You don't need governments to do it, especially if you're selling it to rebel groups or the mob or cartels.
Obviously, you've been around this, you know. So from that
Sorry, is Sean Ryan a gun runner?
age, from say 30 to 65-ish when he died, so 35 years, he's intersecting with governments.
And Donald Trump all the time.
It's not just the Israelis. I mean,
No, it's the president of the United States.
the Israelis were
The sitting president of the United States.
definitely involved. Ehud Barak is living at his house. I mean, okay. And we have a lot of his emails that prove that, and I'm not.
We also have a lot of his emails about hanging out with Donald Trump. We got the whole birthday book. We got Trump's statements of him before. We got the fucking interview where Trump's flight, he had to delay his plane because he was waiting for Epstein to show up. And he shows up with Maxwell and an unnamed underage girl. I'm sure that was the only time that ever happened.
Defending the Israeli government, which is hard to defend, but I'm just trying to tell the truth, which is it's not just the Israelis. Okay, it's us, it's the British, the French, it's the usual players.
Yes, it's definitely not the Russians. It's definitely, even though all of his money that he laundered in his last 2 weeks being alive didn't go through Israel, didn't go through a U.S. crypto exchange, went through Russia. Let's see. Notice he just that lying by omission, I think. Let's see. Epstein, Russia, money, last week's. Yeah, here you go. The sound you want to yeah, here you go. The U.S. Treasury's Epstein file details 4,725 wire transfers, adding up to nearly 1.1 billion flowing in and out of just one of Epstein's bank accounts. If you ask me, that's 4,725 potential lines of investigation right there. This is Ron Wyden speaking. Hundreds of millions flowed through other accounts. That's even more to investigate. The file shows Epstein used multiple Russian banks, which are now under sanctions, to process payments related to sex trafficking. A lot of women and girls he targeted came from Russia, Belarus, Turkey, Turkmenistan. You shudder to think what kinds of people must have been involved in the trafficking of these women and girls out of these countries into Epstein's web of abuse. Again, there are potential leads the Department of Justice ought to be digging into. Notice that Tucker Carlson mentions the U.S., the U.K., France, and Israel, doesn't mention Russia, doesn't mention Belarus. right? Doesn't mention Turkey and Turkmenistan. Isn't that weird? They're the usual players. Well, if you're talking about the usual players, Russia is the big player in this arena. The big player.
Tell services that matter in the West and probably others. So that's who's being protected, of course, and then all kinds of other pawns. And so I think one of the main
Pawns? Oh, sorry. I guess Vladimir Putin is just an innocent victim in all this.
takeaways from that story, about which I know a lot, but not everything, is that the leaders that we believe are leaders, and people are starting to get this, like our elected officials.
This is This is the fallback, by the way, that Glenn Beck and all these other guys have gone through. It's not that Trump is a fuck up. He's trying his best. It's the people behind the scenes that really run things, and you just can't escape it. Even if you elect the perfect candidate, the King Arthur of our time, Donald Trump, ultimately that doesn't matter. We knew it. We knew whatever he was going to do was all going to be destroyed by the unseen hand of the derp state.
Have so much power, or Senator so-and-so, President, what's his name? Like these are the people running our society, or not.
Maybe if you figured out their names, you could stop it.
The people running our society, of course, they themselves are subject to enormous pressures from, other people and coalitions of people and
You mean voters?
Forces and interests, and that's what they're. And the closer you get to them, the more time you spend with the people who are in charge, the more you realize they're not really in charge, or they're only semi in charge.
How does it happen?
What a bunch of fucking. This is the laziest fucking shit game of 3-card Monty ever. Just drop the P behind the desk and pretend it's under one of them. You're not confused, Sean Ryan. He doesn't make sense. This is just, it's InfoWars refrigerator poetry.
How does it happen? We talked about this a little bit at breakfast.
You guys had breakfast before this? I mean, don't get me wrong. None of us want to watch you guys eat. But you just decided to have breakfast before you went to the bar with an insane amount of liquor in your house?
I don't think everything is transactional as it may seem.
Oh, no.
I think that, and this is from my own experience, and I don't believe I've fallen into any yet, but I think I have come close.
Why? Because advertisers came to you with a deal you thought you couldn't say no to because it was ridiculous money, and then you found out that they were a Russian front?
I think they set traps, and that doesn't mean there's a hooker in the fucking hotel room that you walk into.
Though there is sometimes.
You know what I mean?
There is sometimes.
For somebody
Really? How often?
that fucking week,
You'd have to.
that would
and
be
stupid,
great.
by the way.
But, and I'm sure that
Yeah, weak and stupid. Yeah, if you walk in and there's just a hooker in there, maybe you walked into the wrong room.
there's plenty of people.
Like, obviously, what Tucker's saying is, like, order your own hookers.
Out there that are that fucking stupid.
Or the
in that
porn
week.
sites. I'm going to look up tranny porn on YouPorn. Oh, that's not controlled by a foreign intel service. Oh, it is.
Sorry. So the reason Tucker Carlson doesn't look up tranny porn on porn sites is not because he wouldn't. It's because he doesn't want to give compromat to our enemies.
It is. That actually is true. So...
Okay. That seems... All right. Does that stand out to anybody as kind of a dubious concern? The liquor shelves are bad AI. No, I think that's a real place. Smash Square. Oh, right, yeah. Tucker found out the hard way. Yeah. That's why this is what. Please tell me this turns into an ad for a VPN.
Yeah, I mean, there are a million ways that your weaknesses expose you to influence, for sure.
It's real easy. if your weaknesses are well within sort of the normal span of things and don't involve the abuse of minors or non-consenting adults, then what's to compromise? Right? Now, I guess the compromise part would be because the group you work and live in, if they knew what you were up to, they would hate you because of their own bigotry and prejudice. And you have to live within the confines of their bigotry and prejudice just to make the money that you do and all that kind of stuff. You have to put on this facade. And it's really any compromise they'd have against you wouldn't be about, oh, you broke a law, but that your facade would fall down with the crowd that you say, right? That you live this kind of like neo-fascistic, faux Christian bullshit veneer. And if anybody were to poke that, then you'd be in trouble, I guess.
I think they can be very giving.
It's true. I mean, I don't know what tranny porn you're watching, but we're not on that subject anymore. Sorry, my bad.
And
It's very hard to talk about it after someone brings it up apropos of nothing.
they can be very giving, and it appears that you're being led into a group.
Yes, yeah. Like it's so. I mean, these tranny porn sites that lead you to a hotel room with a hooker in it just can be like it's like one big party, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm not. How did I end up in Diddy's basement? Right. It happened to anybody.
And then,
I'm watching that right now with someone. Yes.
and then you're fucking done.
You're watching that with someone who.
But not even realizing it until you're in.
Oh, yes.
And,
They both went, I can't believe it. I'm like, look, dude, I don't know about you, but I'm like 2 clicks away from a Chris Hansen video. And I got to constantly police myself, because it's not what I'm looking at that's horrifying and bad and duplicitous and gross and all that kind of stuff. It's that if I get caught, my money train dries up, and that's the true morality of my side. Jesus Christ. That was a conversation, I would like to say for the record, about the disclosure of the Epstein files. The title of that was Release the Fucking Files. Why don't we have the Epstein and JFK files? Now, let's jump over in our Epstein follow-up. By the way, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up to the show. It's House Sparks Megaworldwiide. I'm glad to be back with you guys. Yes, this is live. Yes, I'm here. I think so. Yes, I am. Okay. And I think when you live on the liberal side of things and you have a much more live and let live attitude, and I don't mean the sort of neo-Victorians of the fringe that, are oddly enough like pro-sex worker but won't shut up about the male gaze or some nonsense like that. Like they just can't decide which side of it they're on. Like it's very odd. Like this kind of overlapping human centipede of morals that don't quite finish each other off. Yeah. So I'm not talking about them, but like the generalized kind of liberal democratic mindset of like, look, love who you love. That's way better than hating somebody. So none of my goddamn business. As long as they're a consenting adult and you leave the kids alone, we're good, right? And so if somebody was outed as being gay or a cross-dresser or comes out as trans and says, hey, I was and now I am, or I wasn't and now I'm showing, or however they want to phrase it, I think most of us are pretty good with it. But on that side of the aisle, that's a career, life, relationship, friendship, family ending conversation. And so they view it very differently. And do you think, well, I'll show you another example. This is why they can't get around the Epstein connection to Donald Trump, because they have this really weird attitude about consent. They just, hi, Kathleen. How are you? From Australia. Good on you. So criminal investigations now. What do we want? Criminal investigations. When do we want them? Now. Glenn Beck is, I think, in what do I see? This is new evidence suggests that J.P. Morgan Chase overlooked 5,000 yellow ticket suspicious activity flags connected to Jeffrey Epstein, which resulted in 1.8. Oh shit! This is actually about the Ron Wyden stuff.
Where does the real story lie with the Epstein story? And I think it's the
Donald Trump, with Donald Trump, with his best friend Donald Trump, his buddy Donald Trump, the guy who partied with him, said he was a fun guy to be with, all that kind of stuff. Partied with him alone a bunch, flew on each other's planes multiple times, didn't have to go to the island because Epstein was so close to him, he would bring the island to him.
money. Okay? That's the real story. I'll tell you about the bill.
No, it isn't. No, there's a lot of money in corruption and, crypto and crimes like that all over the fucking place. The money, there's a lot of guys who pay ridiculous amounts of money to other people to fix the tax scheme so that they can make and save a lot of money. The part of this that stands out is all the kid fucking dum-dum.
Billions that have gone to terrorists from the U.S. and Minnesota taxpayers here in a second.
Yes, the 86 Somali immigrants who were scamming like autism services and that kind of stuff and PPE stuff because of how loose they were drawn during COVID while who was president? I can't remember. I'll look it up later. Where, by the way, no children were sexually assaulted. Equally as bad to Glenn Beck.
And when I talk about that, what most people will do is they'll fight over ICE. They'll say it's Islamophobia. They'll fight over CARE, whatever. USAID, when that went down, well, that was just about...
Didn't go down. Still exists because he doesn't have the right to get rid of it. He moved it under the State Department, and they just removed the cover on the building to make assholes like you think they took it away when in reality it's still there. The discretionary funds were all swept away, but some of the stuff that was allocated through USAID by Congress is still going out the door. They're just pretending. That's why the deficit has gone up and not down, because none of the previous spending, but for minuscule amounts, was pulled back from things. And Trump didn't decide to pass those savings on to the taxpayer. He decided to spend it on other shit.
Feeding hungry children. And it's all misdirection to get you away from the money. So let me bring this now to Epstein. When a bank detects...
Oh, you mean Donald Trump's best friend? Jeffrey Epstein? One of two friends he's actually had in his life, deep friendships. Him and Roy Cohn, both dead pedophiles. You mean those guys? I'm just clarifying for my own.
Suspicious activity. When they see something that looks like money laundering, human trafficking, tax evasion, sending money overseas to terrorists, they don't send a polite note to the supervisor in hopes somebody reads it. They are required by federal law after 9/11 to file what is called a SAR. It's a suspicious activity report, a SAR. They have to report that directly to the U.S. Treasury Department through FinCEN, Financial Center for Crimes. Okay. Once a SAR is filed, the bank isn't even allowed to tell you that they filed it. They just hit send. It's locked. The Treasury is notified. Now, this is a system, like I said, was built after 9/11, built after decades of financial corruption, a system designed that no...
By people like Donald Trump.
Single banker, no single executive, no single billionaire can make illicit money and then have it just disappear offshore.
Yeah, they can, through the new crypto laws that Donald Trump signed into law and is using to do precisely that right now. Right fucking now.
This is activated. If you draw $10,000 out of your account, you're moving $10,000, you get a SAR report and it goes directly to the Treasury. And when the bank flags something suspicious, the SAR is called a yellow ticket. And it's not a suggestion. It's not a memo. It is a federal alert. That triggers.
Yeah, but it doesn't automatically mean it was wrong. Like SARs get triggered if somebody's buying or selling a house, if they're putting money down on a house. It will go through there because it's if you don't normally release that amount of money or put that money, spend that amount of money, or money comes in when you bought a house, it will list it. And the Treasury will look at that and go, oh, they bought a house. And then it goes away. The yellow ticket's like a yellow flag in football. They can still review it, and sometimes it turns out no foul.
Monitoring by the Treasury, the FBI, Homeland Security, depending on what the flags indicate. Now you understand that, let me talk to you about Jeffrey Epstein.
and Donald Trump's financial relationship with him.
Between 2002
And the house that they fought over, which is what allegedly broke them up, and still they were friends after.
and 2016, JP Morgan Chase filed 7 SARs, 7 yellow tickets on Epstein. 7 over 14 years. Those reports flagged a grand total of $4.3 million in sketchy activity. Okay. It's all, it's a decade plus, $4 million. You can make all kinds of excuses for that, right? But after Epstein died, when the government finally unsealed the sex trafficking details that they had held on to for years, JP Morgan Chase suddenly panicked because the floodgates suddenly opened. In 2019, 2 SARs were flagged. 2 SARs were sent to the Treasury. They flagged over 5,000 suspicious wire transfers. We're not talking $4 million. This is 1.3.
Yeah, we know, asshole. This is what Ron Wyden has been. Glenn Beck is now slurping up Ron Wyden's sloppy seconds. Say that 10 times fast.
$billion.
Yes, we all know this. Tara Dublin knows this, and she does indeed rock.
5,000 suspicious activity transfers and transactions of $1.3 billion. Now, let me just say this clearly so nobody really misses the gravity of this. You do not accidentally forget to report 5,000 suspicious wires. You don't where did we put that $1.3 billion? Okay. You don't misplace $1 billion in wires to foreign banks and shell companies connected to then a convicted sex offender under federal investigation. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
It does if Donald Trump is president, which he was when this happened. Let's see. Let's see if we can find these. 14,000. Let's see. I'm going to follow it. Okay, this is remarks from Senate Committee on Finance. Here we go. Yeah. Bank says it alerted U.S. of suspicious transaction just weeks after pedophile was found dead, which happened before, obviously. Just weeks after it was found dead in New York, said about transactions linked to pedophile. It also flagged wire transfers made by Epstein to Russian banks, 4,700 plus, totaling $1 billion something. New York Times reported the report filed during the last Trump administration. Yep, yeah, that's what I thought it said. Isn't that funny? It's curious, don't you think? Just the whole. After Jeffrey Epstein's 2019 death, the bank reported more than $1 billion in potentially suspicious transactions. Yeah, we fucking know. The nature of this transaction, as well as his role in them, is unclear. Morgan said it reported that it was flagging about 4,700 transactions totaling $1 billion because they were potentially related to reports of human trafficking involved Mr. Epstein. It also, none of the men mentioned in the report have been charged with crimes in connection with Mr. Epstein. The report was included in hundreds of pages of previously sealed court records that JP Morgan released on Thursday at the instruction of a federal judge. He ordered the documents unsealed in response to requests. Several other suspicious activities reports that JP Morgan filed in the years before were also included in the documents released on Thursday. They notified federal regulators of some of Epstein's voluminous cash withdrawals, which experts say were a potential hallmark of money laundering and human trafficking. Continued to do business with Mr. Epstein for years. The bank lent him money, moved his funds overseas, and enabled payments to some of his sex trafficking victims. Bank employees repeatedly raised concerns about the risks being associated with him, but senior executives decided to keep his accounts open because all of his loans were backed by Russia, just like Donald Trump's. The 2019 suspicious activity report provided scant details, no shit, about the transactions in question or why they were considered suspicious aside from apparently being connected to Mr. Epstein. In the case of Mr. Wexner's trust, it described $65 million of wire transfers from mid-2000s that appeared to move between multiple banks. Mr. Epstein served as a trustee for some of his trusts for nearly 2 decades until around 2007. Epstein was a close financial advisor to Wexner, the less Wexner ones. Let's see. Here you go. related to Mr. Epstein's crimes. Mr. Dershowitz, who was one of Mr. Epstein's criminal defense lawyers, said, the only funds I ever received from Jeffrey Epstein were payments for my legal services based on my hourly rates. 2019 suspicious activity also flagged a number of people who worked closely with Epstein over the years and several of his corporate entities. We know this. And yet, I guess Beck didn't give a fuck about this till now.
It doesn't happen because a junior banker made a mistake. It doesn't happen because the compliance officer was sleepy. It doesn't happen because somebody's inbox was full. To not report that level of suspicious activities directly to the Treasury, first of all, is against all federal law. At a minimum.
Okay. 2019 suspicious activity also flagged North. The question, I guess, would be, it was flagging about 4,700 transactions, including more than $1 billion, because they were potentially related to reports of human trafficking involving Mr. Epstein. So maybe they went back in retrospect, in looking at all this shit. Not that I trust J.P. Morgan Chase, but I think the idea is that considering the legal cases and how much they might be in trouble, they would have to go back and go, all right, in review, we would flag these as problems, either up to or previous to in 2001 till the law was passed around the Patriot Act, and then afterwards. Also mentioned Epstein's wire transfers to Russian banks and sensitivities around his relationship with two U.S. presidents. Mr. Epstein at times was close with President Trump and former President Bill Clinton. There we go.
Multiple officers, multiple departments, multiple sign-offs, choosing not to look. $1.3 billion, 5,000 suspicious activities. Why?
Because when the federal case was put up against him, all right, let me be abundantly clear. I think J.P. Morgan Chase is full of shit, and I think Deutsche Bank is full of shit, and I think they laundered a bunch of Russian money through a bunch of different areas, and the loans backed by foreign entities, specifically Russian oligarchs and Vladimir Putin himself, and perhaps even, high-ranking Chinese people, maybe even MBS, that those loans backed in through Deutsche Bank and through J.P. Morgan Chase, they weren't worrying about the details of them because it wasn't their money. Put that aside for a second. At some point, they would come to the conclusion that the case against him was proceeding, the non-prosecution agreement was going away, and that they were proceeding with this case that he was in jail for. And so they went back and went, okay, let's do our due diligence and pretend we were being helpful all the time. That's why.
Why did nobody report that? Well, now, according to
Well, they didn't report it because, especially when you're talking about thousands of dollars, where somebody has billions of dollars worth of accounts, they're not going to flag them as much. Or they're going to review them and go, fucker's rich. He's probably paying repairs on his fucking boat, right? They're going to look at him and go, all right. He's got an airplane. People like that write checks for $50,000 all the time. That's why they're going to throw a bunch of them out. And then they're going to go back and do a second review after he's being tried and go, well, this one stands out and this one stands out. Everybody take a look at these accounts. Tell us anything that doesn't look like it's on the up and up. That's how you would do it. And the reason they wouldn't look at it twice is because, like I said, he's got billions of dollars. So any payment over $10,000 getting flagged will immediately get brushed aside at that pay scale.
Internal emails, J.P. Morgan Chase held off the filing of the SARs. Now, let me ask you this. If you had if you withdrew $10,000 from your bank, are you really clear that your bank would do what the federal government directs? And I have to report this, and it's going to go to the Treasury. Are you clear that they would do that on you?
Yes, if it was a suspicious activity. Because for most people, moving 10 grand around, if they're not moving it straight into a car loan or straight into a home buying purchase or something along those lines, anything over 10 grand that you're writing a check for in one fell swoop or withdrawing monies on is suspicious compared to your regular activity. But when somebody's a billionaire, that's why they get away with this shit, is because that amount of financial activity ain't suspicious, you dumb... Oh, fuck me.
Because the answer is yes, they would.
Right, because you don't normally move around $10,000 or more the way somebody like this would. And it's why they look the other way. Plus, it gives them plausible deniability after the fact.
Federal law requires it. But the bank decided, well, we want to continue to work with Epstein. He's valuable. He's connected. He's a referral engine to some of the richest people in the world. He had sensitivities, according to the bank. Wire transfers to Russian banks.
But, Glenn, you think Russia's on our side.
Wire transfers to shell corporations.
Oh, you mean like the 1,500 shell corporations that Donald Trump has? When you assholes were clamoring that the Bidens who live in Delaware, which is like Shell Corp Central, have like 5 for their family trust and shit like that, and incorporate their businesses there. But Donald Trump has 1,500 fucking Shell Corps that he's the magic king of.
Wire transfers from a guy who is engaged in sex trafficking. Links to top political figures, relationships with 2 U.S. presidents.
Yeah, wait, I know about Bill Clinton. Who's the other guy, though? It's Bill Clinton and, fuck me, what's that guy's name? Really close to him, though. Like, hung out way more than Clinton did. They were way closer. And for longer, too. Turns out after he was convicted the first time, he was like, fuck me. It was whatever that president was, he's got a fucking private club, and Epstein was still a guest there till, like, I think a year before he was killed.
Both of whom...
escaped.
Epstein at various times claimed to be very, very close with. Let me explain. There's something most people don't know.
You're not Colonel Sanders' stunt double. I think most people don't know that. Hold on. Let's see. Where's a good one? Here's a new one. This is... Hold on. Superhighway, coast to coast, easy to get anywhere with a transcontinental overload. Right behind the wheel. How does it feel? Sounds about that. The fuck is James talking about, man? I don't know. Keep singing. Get back. One can. I heard that. Well, never mind. Here they are at yet another hangout. This is a new one. I mean, I don't doubt that they would get pictures with, Brown, or Brown's got his arm on his shoulder, so, But I don't remember seeing them in these outfits before, but they're at this gathering. Here's yet another hangout. Yet another time they're buddying around with the rich and famous. I feel good. Yeah.
Banks file SARS, suspicious activity reports, to the Treasury for far less than this. $10,000. They flag it. A business wires to an unusual location. They flag it. It's sent to the Treasury.
Right. But again, we've already established that for rich people, over $10,000 is not necessarily flagged, and the Treasury isn't going to freak out about it. And as far as an unusual location, if they are doing business overseas, or in the case of a lot of the money that used Les Wexner's money that he was shuffling around, they would flag Les Wexner's accounts. Jesus. Oops, sorry.
A client sends repetitive round number transfers to an unknown entity. they flag it. It goes
Yeah, that's what they're looking for, rounding.
to the Treasury. A wire connected to anything resembling terror or human trafficking or exploitation, they flag it right now.
Okay, so basically anything Don Jr. is spending right now, because he does all crypto, and that's all crypto is for, is trafficking in humans, drugs, or guns.
Banks don't wait for 5,000 suspicious transactions. They don't wait. They file over one.
I don't know why this for you.
So how did Epstein get through 5,000 suspicious activity reports without triggering any alarms? Well, not because the alarms were broken, because they weren't. It's because somebody turned them off. I'd like to know who turned those off.
Gee, who was president when he died? So it's those, they talk about alarms that were turned off in the prison area. Maybe the same person. Nah.
I'd like to know why they were turned off. I would like to know if it was just the leadership
Well, then call Ron Wyden and applaud him, you dumbass.
of the bank. I'd like to know that every single one of those bank officers, all the way to the top, go to prison.
You want to go through how many of their signatures are also on Trump's loans? You want to do that? I'm for it, man.
Not some slap on the wrist, not some, well, you're well connected, so we're going to let this other guy pay for it. I want all of them in prison. You broke federal law, something we all of us, have to abide by. We have had our treasury, we've had our government snoop into our lives, watch everything we do, and we're not connected to human trafficking.
Look, I'm going to take your word for it this one time, but in your case, I don't believe you. I think you are connected to human trafficking. And here's how. You know Donald Trump, you consider him a friend. His sons run a suspicious crypto empire that deals with a lot of crypto that is used in human trafficking. You're 2 steps away. We're not even talking, Kevin Bacon distance.
We're not selling children. We're
What are you, renting them or?
not convicted felons.
Like Trump? Okay.
We're not transferring $1.3 billion after we've been convicted.
He hadn't been convicted yet. He died in prison before he went to trial. He'd had that other thing in Florida, but he was in federal jail before that. And you don't like, if you haven't been put into jail, take this up with Florida. Clearly a Republican enclave full of assholes. Go talk to them.
SARS are not, these suspicious activity reports, they are not decided by a single teller. They have to pass through compliance.
Tellers. Yeah, that's who does it. Tellers. Yeah, because like Jeffrey Epstein, the teller at the window should have gone, wait a minute, aren't you that pedophile guy from Florida? I'm making a note.
Science teams, risk divisions, bank lawyers, federal liaison officers. This isn't one bad apple. It's an entire system. And Senator Wyden, no conservative firebrand I might point out, is now openly saying what everybody knows privately, J.P. Morgan Chase should face criminal investigation, and it should go all the way to the top.
Well, the problem is the top right now is Donald Trump. Even higher than a bank CEO, the president of the United States will guarantee they won't. Asshole. Now, obviously, this is like this kind of whinging nonsense is particularly aggravating coming from him because, and it's coming home to roost. Let me play a little. This is from Real America's Voice. I'm curious what they have to say because look at the title of this one. Admin's handle of Epstein. Let's see, shall we?
Watch what magnesium.
Oh, quit it. Hold on. I've got to sign in. Really? Here we go. Oh, okay. So it's not there we go. There you go. Look at this. Look at the top of this dude's head. This looks like an AI. It looks like the top of his head was erased.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for coming on the Manly Report, where manly men man themselves up to man against the woman and man our way through the manosphere. Joining me right now is Dweeb Team Captain.
Lots of Epstein news, of course. Wow, it's been out there for so long. He's been dead
Wow.
now for, what is it, 6 years?
Citation needed.
Nick, did he die in 2019?
He did die in 2019, but some things are like a fine wine. It just takes time.
Right.
Sorry, so his death wasn't completed till recently? What, did Trump hunt him down?
Now, I'm a
Was he in one of the boats coming from Venezuela?
conspiracy theorist, Nick. I don't believe that he committed suicide. That's my view. So I know some people agree, some people disagree. I know I've asked you about it, and
Well, Pam Bondi and Bongholio and Kash Patel think you're a fucking moron. You're an asshole and a loser, and you don't know what reality is, and you're a shit stain on the back of the shirt of MAGA, and Donald Trump agrees with them. So keep at it.
I think you've told me on the radio that you're open to it, but you're not sure, right?
I have chip hair in my hair.
I mean, the footage that Dan Bongino gave us was so ridiculous.
Just gonna enjoy that for a second. Just gonna let that wash over me, you know? Yes, Bongholio, you're fucking ridiculous.
Because
Right.
it didn't cover the stairs. If you hug the
Let me just interrupt and say this. Pretty much everything that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel have given us have been pretty much, and Pam Bondi, pretty much useless.
This is MAGA. This is real America's voice, ladies and gentlemen. High five. Obviously, he's allowed to say this on Real America's Voice because no one watches this show because of face. But wow.
I mean, talk about deflated expectations.
Yeah, it's just sad. It's almost as if other people were telling you this whole fucking time that you can't elect the dude's best friend and then have the shit disclosed. It's I don't know what people were thinking.
Most were like, yay, we got all these people in the Department of Justice, yay. And then, my gosh.
Really? You used the word yay? You're a grown man. You went, yay! You said that? I think, I believe you. Who says yay for real? Just besides, I was like Kanye's family when he insists on a new nickname.
They've dropped the ball on, disappointed us on everything. At least.
Oh, no. Oh, no, asshole. They did not drop the ball. No. They went into the opposing team's end zone and spiked the ball. They didn't drop it. It wasn't an accident. This is on purpose. You can't make this kind of shit happen without intent.
It's me. But anyway, I'm sorry. Back to the footage. The footage was ridiculous, right? Didn't really show anything, did it?
No, I mean, the footage showed there was a stairway, but you could easily, it didn't show a door that went to the stairway. And then if you hugged the right side of the stairway, you'd be able to go up undetected. Plus, there was some editing done, too. So I have not really focused too much on it.
Editing? Trump wouldn't allow that to happen. He's the most transparent. Oh, I just realized what he meant by the most transparent administration in history, and they focus on transparency. What they mean is they're blatantly doing whatever the fuck they want, transparently scoffing at the law. That's what's transparent. Not their disclosure, but just sort of fuck you transparency.
Epstein's death, because I think it could be a red herring to take away from, like, the justice for the victims. But
Right.
Dan Bongino he really helped people along with the footage that he released. Skeptics that didn't think that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, a lot of them were no longer skeptical after Dan Bongino released that footage.
Right.
Oh, maybe it was a secret plot he had. He wants people to believe that Epstein didn't kill himself, so he's playing 7D chess.
Right. I mean, when you alter the footage, when there's questions about it, it just doesn't give people confidence. And
Yeah, that's how I would put it. Doesn't give people confidence. It's not an active conspiracy to hide the truth. It's just doesn't give you confidence. You know what I mean? You just don't feel like you got the verve anymore, the nerve.
and that was just something that I thought was just really questionable. So, all right, so fast forward to, of course, all the months of waiting for Pam Bondi to get the files off her desk, and then they were, being looked at by a team 24/7, and she didn't get New York to cooperate, and they didn't give her everything, and then of course it became this big hot potato politically, and the victims and Marjorie Taylor Greene and others saying, "Hey, release the files," and President Trump didn't want to release it. Then he said, "All right, release it." And then everyone except our Louisiana Congressman Clay Higgins said, "Release it." So he signed the bill, and Justice Department, has 30 days to retract from that. Is that the process, Nick?
Well, they have 30
Retract?
days to produce all the material that they're going to produce.
Yeah, that's the key. That they're going to produce.
And
now, what could be redacted? What could be redacted?
Anything for national security purposes and anything in an ongoing investigation, which could cover almost everything in it.
From this,
especially the national security thing, because what if our enemies knew that the president was fucking kids on Jeffrey Epstein's plane? What would that do to our national security? It would set us up where they might feel like they could bomb us or kidnap Americans overseas. So it's best that we don't release that, right? That's the logic.
I don't really have much faith in the Trump administration.
I mean, they're thinking it, but to hear them actually articulate it, it's just, I wish I should have popped popcorn before this one. So let me hear that again. That's some good stuff. What was that again?
I don't really have much faith in the Trump administration.
This is a pro-Trump network and a pro-Trump show. Look at that guy's haircut. Clearly, that guy is pro-Trump. No one would do that to the top of their head if they didn't also think, you'd have to look in the mirror at that hair and think, that looks good. That's the kind of brain you'd have to think Donald Trump is a great leader. You know what I mean? Like, this is the kind of way these brains work. And that is just, it's so, like, I'm enjoying it. You know what I mean? I'm just basking in the glow.
They've given us nothing but lies.
These guys were up Hunter Biden's ass for years. I would like to say for the record. That's nothing but lies. Like real America's voice, ladies and gentlemen. That's impressive. Holy shit. So I would like chat room to put another, he does look like Peter Lorre, you're absolutely right. I would like to slam another flag in the ground of claimed land where I have said that MAGA has drawn this line and it means something to them that is more important to them than their loyalty to Donald Trump. And for all these people who are like, MAGA's just going to take it and roll over and blah, blah, blah. No. Everywhere you turn, from MTG stepping down to RAV going, they've given us nothing but lies. It's spreading. They wouldn't say that on the air if the audience wasn't ready to hear it. You have to understand that. They would not, even think to say this if their audience was like, we're going to burn the fucking studio down if you turn on Donald Trump. We're ride or die Trumpies. If their mass audience, was ride or die Trumpies, they wouldn't dare say fucking anything like that. But now, Trump has made them make a choice. Either say the truth and destroy your relationship with Trump, or say a lie and destroy your relationship with your viewership and the voters and any potential viewers, obliterate your credibility. That's it. Either you say the truth and ruin your relationship with Trump, or you say a lie and ruin your relationship with your own credibility forever. And they're having to, they'll still be full of shit about a myriad of issues. But this is why this is the sinker. This is why this is the one that they can't shake off. Damn. Damn, son. Okay, let me jump over here. Now, can I just show you this next one I don't even have time to go through. This is like 20 minutes long. I don't have time for this. This is James Lindsay. The woke right. What it is and why it's growing with James Lindsay. What is James Lindsay doing with his face? I don't want to have too much chin in this picture. Mm. 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 It's like there's duck lips and then there's what? Pigeon lips? What is the woke right, what it is and why it's growing. Dun, dun, dun. Now this, by the way, has a lot to do with the feeling that there was this poll that came out. We showed this weeks ago, so we don't need to recover this. But this came out of the idea that a bunch of Trump voters have decided they want a Democrat to win next time. They're for some socialist policies or things they perceive as socialist policies, even though they're not socialist policies. They're just democratic taxation used to support the citizenry of a country, which is what they're fucking supposed to do. But this is the unraveling, the great awakening, as I called it in the title. Yeah, the woke right. Now, I just enjoy that. By the way, just know that match has been chucked onto a pile of kerosene rags in the background. Meanwhile, let's jump over to Donald Trump, to this point that I was making. This is from the White House, by the way, this gaggle, so it should have decent audio, I hope. And it's one of the few videos where you can see Trump and watch him be interviewed without a bunch of gold crap behind him. So here's Trump on Air Force One gaggle.
Okay, hello everybody. How are you?
Hello everybody, how are you? This is their White House video, which, by the way, they could eliminate the noise from the airplane if they wanted to. They just don't give a fuck.
Hi, how are you? What would you like to know today?
Could you start off by telling us the latest with Russia and Ukraine? Are you expecting Zelensky to come visit you?
We're having good, I don't know, he would like to come, but I think we should get a deal done first. We're having good talks. We started with Russia, we're having some talks with
Of course you start with Russia. They're your buddies.
Russia.
Why wouldn't you go to the invading force first to set the terms?
Ukraine is doing well. I think they're pretty happy about it. They'd like to
Nope.
see it end. And we won't know for a little while, but we're making progress.
Then you're not making progress.
What are the big secrets?
We settled 8 wars.
Including some that had never existed. P.S. Fuck Sudan, I guess.
And I thought this would be one of the easier ones because of my relationship with President Putin.
Yeah, you're not supposed to say that out loud. That's fucking stupid.
But this is probably one of the more difficult ones. There's a lot of hate.
You think? Why would that be? Because your buddy invaded another country and sent rape squads into the cities? Just bombing civilian areas, killing kindergartners for no fucking reason?
You said there were a few points of disagreement that were still left to be.
Yeah, a few.
Can you tell us what those are?
Well, it's just the standard things with
Standard things, dead civilians, land, resources, the right to have sovereign borders, shit like that.
people are starting to realize it's a good deal for both parties and they got to stop the war. They're losing a lot of people, a lot of soldiers, mostly soldiers.
Yeah, wars can be like that. Isn't that weird?
In that 28
More civilians on the are being killed on the Ukrainian side, by the way, because Ukrainians don't target civilian areas.
plan is originally leaked with this portions of that said that Ukraine.
Well, that was an original proposal, and then from there we went back and forth.
So when it comes to ceding land to Russia, is that still on the table or has that changed?
Well, they're talking about going land both ways and trying to
going land both ways. We're trying to, like, if you had a baby and both of the parents want the baby, and you just get basically a hacksaw, and both of you have half a baby. It's better than no baby at all.
Clean up a border. You can't go through the middle of a house. You can't go through the middle of a highway. So they're trying to work something. It's a complicated process.
How about try not going through the middle of a fucking country that isn't yours, asshole?
Doesn't go that quickly.
What about security guarantees and
Well, we're working that out with Europe. Europe will be largely involved in that. We're working that out with Europe. Europe really wants to see it end if possible.
There were a lot of
Do they? All of Europe? Did you ask?
Republicans who felt that the first 28-point plan was too favorable to Russia. Have you changed
Well, that was just a map. All that was is a map. That was
Didn't really have any stuff on it. It was just, how about this line?
not a plan.
Just me and a Sharpie.
It was a concept. And from there, they've taken each one of the 28 points, and then you get down to 22 points. A lot of them were solved, and actually very favorably solved. So we'll see what happens.
Very favorably solved.
Do you think that Russia?
Because solving something isn't enough. You've got to keep, you have to keep flooding the engine.
That Ukraine was being asked to give too much land back to Russia. I know at one point you said they shouldn't have to give any back.
It's really up. Look, the way it's going, if you look, it's just moving in one direction.
No, it's not.
So eventually that's land that over the next couple of months might be gotten by Russia anyway.
Or not.
So do you want to fight and lose another 50, 60,000 people?
Or do you just want to give them the land you're fighting for as if it doesn't fucking matter?
Or do you want
So that they can come back and do it again in a couple of years?
to do something now? In some cases, the land is going
Yeah, we don't have a map. We have concepts of a map.
in the other direction. So they're negotiating.
Here's a good idea. How about move it back to the 91 borders and call it a fucking day?
They're trying to get it done. You want to have a border? You can't have a border that goes through a highway or a border that goes through the middle of a town. So that doesn't work. So it's a long, complicated process.
Right, but we're making progress on the long, complicated process that isn't actually progress.
Very, very sad because so many people are being killed.
What's the next step?
Well, you have a great relationship with Putin. Why don't you fucking call him and tell him to just get the fuck out?
They're going to keep talking. They're talking to Russia now. Steve Witkoff is going over, maybe with Jared. I'm not sure about Jared going, but he's involved in the process. Smart guy, and they're going to be meeting with President Putin, I believe, next week in Moscow.
Next week in Moscow?
I think so, yes.
What kinds of concessions are the Russians going to have to make?
Well, they're making concessions. Their big concession is they stop fighting. And
Their big concession is they stop fighting. That's like, they're going to have to give up. They love fighting just for no reason at all. They just need it. Hold on one second. I want to point something out. Real quick. Let's see. Trying to find a. There you go, Stratford World. The others. This looks like it's over. Hamas and Israel evolved Gaza conflict. The war in Gaza is paused. The conflict between Israel and Palestinians is not. Israel's armies now sit on the so-called yellow line, occupying roughly half the strip. Hamas seeks to gather its battered fighters to attempt to govern the other half. Violations occur, and few are optimistic about the future phases of the ceasefire, but few still call it a war either. The drivers of conflict have not ended with the truce. Israel wants Hamas out of Gaza permanently and to block the creation of a Palestinian state. Hamas wants to leverage its damaged but still entrenched position in Gaza into becoming the leader of the Palestinian national movement. That's all. He solved that war. So, okay, sorry. I didn't realize it was that solved. It's solved. Yeah, back to solved.
They don't take any more land. Again, it's a war that would have never happened.
Their concessions are they have to stop fighting and not continue to fight over there. What's the concession? Then what are they giving up? How about they give up some of the land they took, like back to the 91 borders?
If I was president, this was not anything that was going to happen.
It was always going to happen.
This happened because of stupidity. It's too bad.
Mr. President,
Witkoff is going to Russia next week. Does that mean that Thanksgiving deadline doesn't stand anymore for Ukraine to agree to this?
We're going to see what happens. They set up a
We're going to see what happens. It's basically the Trump doctrine.
date, and the date is going to be sometime in the very near future.
Does it have a new deadline?
No, I don't have a deadline. I just,
Yeah, whatever.
you know what the deadline for me is? When it's over.
Well, okay, so whatever deadline other people set up.
And I think everybody's tired of fighting at this moment. They're losing too many people.
have you heard this audio that
Yeah, as opposed to what? Losing all their land?
Bloomberg has of Witkoff coaching the Russians on how to appeal to you?
Well, I haven't heard it, no, but that's a standard thing, because he's got to sell this to Ukraine. He's got to sell Ukraine to Russia. That's what a deal maker does. You got to say, look, they want this. You got to convince them with this.
Not talking about Ukraine, fuckwad. He means you. Witkoff was telling the Russians how to bullshit you like they don't fucking know.
That's a very standard form of negotiation. I haven't heard it, but I heard it was standard negotiation.
Did you? You heard that from who told you that?
And I would imagine he's saying the same thing to Ukraine, because each party has to give and take.
So you're not worried that he's too pro-Russian?
No, I think, look, this war could go on for years, and Russia's got a lot more people, got a lot more soldiers,
Yeah, Ukraine's got a lot more drones.
So I think
and a lot more support.
Ukraine can make a deal. It's a good thing. I think it's great for both. Frankly, I think it's great for both. But Ukraine's got it's much smaller. It's a much smaller group of people. They've lost a lot of people. Russia's lost a lot of people. But Russia has a much bigger pool of people.
Mr. President,
Yeah, they can start sending grandmas next.
are you planning to unveil a health care plan anytime soon?
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
Looking at different alternatives. I mean, I like
looking at different alternatives to your concept of a plan.
my plan the best. Don't give any money to the insurance companies. Give it to the people directly. Let them go out and buy
their own insurance that they can pay to the insurance companies.
own health care plan. And we're looking at that. If that can work, we're looking at that. That's
I see. So you're going to basically create healthcare welfare payments. Then instead of a tax break for getting insurance, you're going to pay directly to people to purchase the insurance. Now, how do you know they're going to actually, the money you give them will go to buy insurance? How do you know? This is fucking stupid. Good Lord.
sort of take it off. That's what I like.
You're an idiot.
Don't give the money to the insurance companies.
You will give it to the insurance companies. Where the fuck are they going to buy insurance from? What are you talking about?
They go out and buy their own plan. You give the money to the people. I like it the best.
Are you planning to extend those subsidies?
I'd rather not. Somebody said I want to extend them for 2 years. I don't want to extend them for 2 years. I'd rather not extend them at all. And maybe some kind of an extension may be necessary to get something else done.
Yeah, something else. What would that something else fucking be? Your bullshit idea that you're going to give cash payments to people to pay their health insurance? With what? Were you going to give them a check that only can be cashed by a health insurance company?
Because the Unaffordable Care Act has been a disaster. It's a disaster. And I said it was when it first got put in, unfortunately.
Well, if it's a disaster, how come you can't come up with a program that is slightly better than a disaster? Why is it that a disaster dogs the fuck out of you? Why is it that if you need to come up with a plan, you can't come up with a plan that's even a little better than a fucking disaster? You don't even have to come up with the greatest plan ever or even a manageable plan for a short period of time. If the ACA is a fucking disaster, why can't you come up with something better than a disaster? That's the part that sticks with me. What? How the hell can't you come up with something that's, if the ACA is that fucking bad, why can't you improve on it? Why would you be dogged by something that sucks? Oh, I know why. I figured it out. I know why. Because you don't actually have a plan and you don't actually give a fuck.
We lost a couple of Republican votes and the Democrats voted for it. It's a Democrat plan.
Right. But it was bipartisan passed.
And the premiums are going up.
And they don't have to. You passed a law to raise them.
And it's the Democrats' fault. But you know...
No, it isn't.
They are negotiating with me. It's very interesting. They want to see something happen.
Who are you talking to on the Democrats?
Yes, they... I can't tell you who. Just a fucking liar.
They're negotiating with me. It's very interesting. They want to see something happen.
Who are you talking to on the Democrats?
I can't tell you who, but we have... A lot of Democrats want this plan to happen. They would love to...
What plan? What plan? What plan? What plan? You don't have a plan. You have concepts of a plan. You have blatherings of concepts of a plan. I haven't even seen... Just draft something the fuck up. How hard is that? Here's my plan. Here it is. You want to hear it? Okay. States can create single-payer programs like California, like Washington State, like Massachusetts. The citizenry of the United States should be able to buy across state lines into other insurance plans. They shouldn't be forced to just buy insurance from an insurance group that controls one part of the country. They should be able to buy into Washington states. Therefore, if there's any profit made off of the money that they give to the insurance there, that money goes into schools and bridges and infrastructure in that particular state, which would give an impetus to other states to create a similar program, and you would be able to shop around for nonprofit, pro-citizen systems in each state. They already exist, and then the private ones would have to compete with those public ones. And we would have public and private like we have in schools, like we have in security, because you have cops, but you can hire a bodyguard if you fucking want to. You got a fire department, but you can pay for really good sprinklers, right? Public and private, all the time. Good mix. So why not in the insurance industry? Single payer from a government entity in multiple states so that if a bunch of Republicans get in the federal government, they can't shut the whole fucking thing down by gutting the funding for it and then going, see, it doesn't work when you've sucked all the money out of it, which is what they attempted to do with the ACA. They couldn't do it to these other states. These other states would still be viable. Right? That's the Sparks plan. You're welcome.
See the money go to the people, and the people go out and get their own health care. And there would be...
Also, what the fuck do you mean get their own health care? Sorry, you're going to pay for people's fucking cancer treatment and their kidney transplant? And what are you talking about? What health care?
Nothing like it.
Are you planning to replace Cash Patel?
Or something like it. There's nothing like that, because that doesn't work. You know what something like that is? Catching a fart in a bag and using it to fly to the moon. There you go. That's it. Just using it as a balloon that will take you to the moon. Makes as much sense as give money to the people to buy their own health care.
No, he's doing a good job. Cash Patel? No, he's doing a great job, I think.
Yeah, he's currently redacting the Epstein files personally.
This week we saw those cases against James Comey and Letitia James tossed out. Do you still have faith in Lindsay Halligan?
Oh, she's great. I think she's great. They got...
Yeah, because boobs.
Out of a technicality, and you'll see what happens from here on. But if you look at...
Yeah, fucking nothing.
The actual charges, I think anybody that looks at it very fairly would say, boy, are they guilty. So let's see what happens over the next week.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We're going to see what happens. We'll see what happens.
The court didn't say you couldn't bring the case, re-bring the case, or appeal the case. So they have a lot of options. They're going to call the shot. I'm not calling the shot. But Lindsay's...
The rejection on it has a built-in with prejudice. They'd have to commit another fucking crime. The statute of limitations has run out on these things. Your plan sounds good, Hal? It is good. It would work. Just saying. And then states that have single-payer systems like California, Washington, Massachusetts, I think Who else was talking about doing it? Vermont, maybe even. Those states would be able to use the profits from their their single payer system that people pay into from other states to grow businesses and pay for schools and all that kind of stuff. Like, think of it as the odds of the lottery and that kind of stuff, but it helps more people than just whoever wins the fucking lottery.
He's a very talented lawyer, actually.
She's an idiot.
President of Venezuela, sir, are you planning to talk to Nicolas Maduro?
I might talk to him. We'll see, but we're discussing that with the different staffs. We might talk with Venezuela.
Interesting enough,
With different staffs.
the U.S. this week did, of course, name him the leader of a foreign terrorist organization. So why do you want to talk to him?
Say it again.
You called him a terrorist. You designated him a terrorist this fucking week. Why do you want to sit down with someone you just designated as a terrorist, you fucking tit?
Maduro, the U.S. designated him the leader.
Not the U.S. The Trump administration, your administration. You fucking did it. You signed the thing. The Congress didn't fucking pass a law.
Leader of this foreign terrorist organization. Why do you want to talk to him if he's the leader?
If we can save lives, if we can do things the easy way, that's fine. And if we have to do it the hard way, that's fine too.
Mr. President, do you have
What's the hard? What's easy about talking to a terrorist?
If you carry
I'm not
on.
going to tell you what the
By the way, I think his designation is just a slapdash way of him that he uses to get around the law by declaring things terrorism or emergencies, because the presidency gets a lot of extra room. So all this shit in the Supreme Court about Trump's grabbing all this power, he's still not doing it. He's just under the declaration of what it is an emergency and what is terrorism. There's been a lot of room, extra room given since Bush to the president to deal with Islamic terrorism and post 9/11, all that kind of shit. And he's just using all of it by basically declaring everything terrorism or an emergency or both. There just need to be more laws about what can be designated and for how long that designation can last before he has to go to Congress and request, that designation be codified.
We should probably know what the goal is, but
Michael, hey, just got Hal can hire me as his insurance expert once he becomes president. We'll talk. We'll have to talk before then. I would like to get the plan in order before I even run. It's a crazy notion. They've
caused a lot of problems, and they've sent millions of people into our country. They were probably the biggest abuser with Trent Aragua and all the others that they sent in, the drug dealers, the drug lords, the people that they sent in, the jailbirds. They opened their jails and prisons and dumped them into the United States.
And who knew that their prisons were full of fucking apple pickers and roofers? Is apple picking and like roofing illegal in Venezuela? Is that why they opened up their prisons and dumped all their apple pickers and roofers into the fucking country? All their prisons must have been full of handymen, right?
We're not happy about it.
Do you want to, Mr. President, does there any reaction to Mayor Bowser announcing she's not running for re-election in D.C.?
Well, I got along with her very well. I liked her. We worked together. D.C. is now a safe community. It's a great community. You people know it better than I do because you live there. But D.C. is now safe. The restaurants are booming. The place is booming. We have no...
The guns are booming when they shoot at National Guard people on the street.
Crime. And we did that all in a period of 3 or 4 weeks and then made it better and better and better. And now we're setting new records. I mean, literally, it's as safe as there is anywhere in the country now. And
as long as you're not a National Guard person assigned to a fucking street corner to sit there wasting your time.
If you go back a year, it was a very unsafe place. Before I got here, D.C. was a very unsafe, and it's our capital. We have to make it safe. We're doing really well in Memphis, Tennessee.
On behalf of Elon Musk.
And we're doing well in other places. The one that is really troubling is what's happening in Chicago. The crime, it's a potentially great city again, but the governor's totally lost control. That's where you had the young lady burned. It's where you had a lot of killings over the last very short period of time. Killings. The governor has totally lost control of the state, and the mayor is grossly incompetent.
How was your call with the Japanese Prime Minister?
Great, it was great. I had a great talk. I have a very good relationship with her. I also had a very good talk with President Xi of China, and I think that part of the world is doing fine.
Can you tell?
Really? You think that part of the world, China, I guess, is doing fine? Also, that China and Japan are somehow equal in how well they're doing? Real quick, if I may. Let me jump on here. I have so many fucking windows open. It's eating up I'm very choppy right now. Hold on. Let me see. Let me close some of these because, damn, son. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see. Whoops. Let's see. Just in general, here we go. China's demographic dilemma. China's growth falling off a cliff. How China's population decline could alter the global economy. China's economy crashing. Exposing the dark side of America's data centers. Okay, that's there. The world population heading for lapse. China's increasingly bizarre economy. What rapid aging will do to the global economy. Okay, that's the global. Let's see. China's collapse, America's rise, and what comes next. China's shrinking population means for the global economy. Population crash, 8-year countdown. China's demographic decline and economic crash. China's aging population threatens economic competitiveness. How does China compare to the population decline in China? Raises concerns of economic implications. Decline of China's population. What's China's real population? 500 million only. How China's shrinking population affects the economy. You're right. They're doing great. I'm sure Xi Jinping was very forthcoming when you had that call.
Tell us about the content of your talks.
Mostly trade. I spoke to President Xi about a lot of things, but trade and buying our farm products, and he said he agreed with me. I think he's gonna very much surprise you on the upside. I asked him, I'd like you to buy it a little faster. I'd like you to buy more,
and give it to who?
He's more or less agreed to do that. I think
he's more or less agreed to. Fuck me. All right. Okay, I've only got 3 minutes left. Hold on. I'm gonna jump ship for a second. Chat room. Let's see. How are you not getting any China show episodes? Right. Just tons of bullshit. Just does not know what the fuck he's talking about. But he thinks there's going to be, some kind of like magic spell. Oh God, is this? Yeah. That China's gonna right itself because it was, it's all happening anyways. Just kind of awesome, Thinking on the less side, more or less. Yeah, mostly less, right. You watch China Beach, I think on the less side of the more, yeah. Can't wait till Dem president rolls up all the Russian, right-wing nut job influencers. Yeah, that's going to be a big thing. All the time you need. Oh, thank you guys so much. Can you explain the public option? Public option is where instead of getting a tax break specifically for your insurance, you can buy insurance from the federal government. That there is an insurance fund created, like in a company, but with zero profit motive. It's just got to be able to fund itself, like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid to some degree. But since it would have to be built on a short term in case there's an outbreak of disease and that kind of stuff, and you need to be able to back it up, unlike Social Security, which is based on a growing, retiring group of people over a period of time that it has to be able to fund. Just like insurance, it would have to work with the actuarial tables and all that kind of stuff, but it wouldn't be a corporation that requires profit to make it solvent. But instead of it just being like Medicare or Medicaid, or Medicare for everyone, which would be paid for blanketly by everyone and then would fall under the weight of it or probably be voted out over time if it didn't get up on its feet before people started seeing the benefits. And that's the problem with introducing a program like Medicare for All, that it would take a while for you to see the benefits of doing it. It wouldn't quite work as a one-to-one to insurance right away. So people would go, fuck that, and then states would file lawsuits and yada, yada, yada. This is a way you could do it legally where you buy insurance and you can get your subsidies from the federal government for the insurance you buy, but instead of buying it from a company like, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, or, Anthem or whatever, you could buy from the state of California or the state of Washington or the state of Massachusetts single payer system, which they set up for their citizenry. And instead of the profits going to Anthem or Blue Cross, Blue Shield, they go to the state of California to use as it sees fit for schools and that kind of stuff. So at least you're not, just doing it for corporate profit for the sake of profit. That would create two things. One is it would create competition on a broader scale for private insurance to have to compete with it. They wouldn't have a monopoly on these sections of the country anymore. And you would be able to buy into these state systems where, again, they're not profit driven. So your chance of you being denied when you need care will be much lower. But if you didn't like it, unlike a federal system, which would be singular, and if you didn't like it, you're kind of stuck, the multiple states could offer reasons why buy into Washington states. We have these benefits. California could say buy into these, our system because it's better than Massachusetts or whatever. The competition between the states for citizens to buy into their systems would create would incentivize better care. I hope that makes sense. Anyways, yeah, I that's my that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. So, anyways, I love you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to do regular shows throughout the week until Thursday. I don't know if I'm leaving early on Thursday, and I'll have to skip that one. But I will be doing. I want to do a Friday AI show. I've got the morning free or noon free on the East Coast time that I'll be on once I'm in Kentucky. So hopefully Rob can join me and we can catch up on stuff because I had such a great conversation with Bob Seska. I feel like he needs to join me on the Friday show occasionally too. So we'll start talking about that, and maybe it's a little too much nerd and man meat for one sitting to have all three of us on a show at once, but maybe in the future. But anyways, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining me as I kind of relaunch into doing the show regularly. I have to say, well, after the last few weeks or whatever, the response from you guys and the stuff that people were saying on Patreon, sending me messages there, I tried to, especially when it was rough, just hit the heart on everything to let you know that I had read them, because responding to them is impossible, but also like it was so emotional that. Like, my dad got all these messages from his friends that they would text him, and we would read them to him, and it was hard for me to get through one. So, at some point, maybe I'll be able to stabilize how I feel about this and speak more openly about those things, but I'm trying to avoid tipping into tears, and I appreciate you guys helping me do that. For real. So, until next time, let me see if I can find where's this one? Yeah, we'll try. Well, I feel like in total dedication to Trump and Tucker and all the people that we saw today, I think it's about time. It's okay to cry. Oh, believe me, I know that. Melt Cheetah, I have no problem crying. It's about talking and crying at the same time. But you guys know, I am not worried about showing emotion. It's, it's time and place. Again, subset of a subset of a subset of a subset. So, anyways, this goes out to Tucker and Trump. Had a sneeze coming, so I had to get rid of it. Thank you guys so much. I hope you know how much I appreciate you guys as an audience. You're the best. See you tomorrow.
The screen glows bright with a crooked smile. Words spill out. All venom, no style. Promises made, they rot in the air. This is some bullshit.